The next move on Bitcoin is so obvious right now. We're seeing clear liquidity being built up above us. We're seeing the funding rates remain to be negative. We're having big consolidation phases on Bitcoin with only a slight side of resistance on the top side. We're seeing bullish consolidation patterns getting created right now, and of course massive fractal patterns as well. So a lot to discuss on today's update video, because yes, the next move on Bitcoin is just so obvious. Don't forget to once again snap on that like button back above 1000 likes, and let me jump straight away in towards this very important video. So first of all, yesterday we saw once again major inflows on the spot Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF. The Bitcoin ETF saw about $400 million worth of inflows, and the Ethereum ETF about 20 million. So still very strong accumulation on the Bitcoin side, but also on the ETH side of things here. So things are still looking quite bullish if you would ask me here. If I'm then looking at the imminent short term, we were actually about to be breaking above the previous all-time high here, but of course then we got hit with a new conflict between Iran and Israel. Of course, the last time this conflict also got started, the market dropped quite heavily, and once again, right now, again, we are seeing the market drop quite heavily due to this conflict happening. And of course, we do have Donald Trump and the United States of America also involved, which of course could make this war all the more worse if the United States of America is also going to get involved. And of course, that would be very bearish for all markets, because war is something markets just don't like. Bitcoin is clearly trading in this consolidation phase here. I mean, I've been talking about this phase for quite a long time already. And I mean, if I'm looking at the 12-hour time frame, you can see this consolidation range is already lasted for 42 days right now here. So it's not a new phase here. We've been in this phase for quite a long time. We've also exactly got rejected from the top side of resistance, and of course on the lower side of support we have seen multiple times that Bitcoin bounced off that level. And of course, I discussed it also, we have got this middle range over here. This is the level where we get rejected from or get supported from also most of the other times here. So yeah, this is just a very important consolidation phase. You can just clearly see there's a range high, range low, and whenever we're going to be seeing the clear breakout above either the top side or the lower side is where the next big move for Bitcoin is going to create it towards. So let's say we break down here, we are expecting a bigger breakdown, of course, and let's say we are breaking the resistance on the top side, we are expecting an even bigger continuation towards the upside. That is just how you trade these patterns, and since we've been consolidating in this pattern for over 40 days right now, it is a very normal thing to be happening. We are looking still at this symmetrical triangle getting created on Bitcoin. We're seeing an upward sloping support line getting created on the lower side, where Bitcoin basically bounced from multiple times already. And here on the top side, we're seeing a downward sloping resist line, where we're also seeing, once again, multiple rejections coming from. So basically, Bitcoin is consolidating. If you just remove all the drawings, you can just easily see it also. We're creating a lower high structure on the top side with, of course, lower highs. And on the lower side, we're creating a higher low structure, which is, of course, very bullish if you'd ask me here. So yeah, you can clearly see we're creating a consolidation pattern. And whenever we're going to be breaking either below the range low or above the range high is where we're going to be seeing that next breakout. And even you could argue, okay, this has been also a lower high, and that means that we're in this last phase of this consolidation phase, because if we either break above this side or this side, we are in for that next major move here. So a big move is anyways expected for Bitcoin right here. So yeah, very much looking forward towards how that is exactly going to be playing out right now here. But ultimately, Bitcoin is still creating this major inverse head and shoulders pattern. And of course, if we're looking at the liquidity heat map above the previous all-time high of Bitcoin, there's still a ton of liquidity laying over there here. So yeah, we've been seeing this, we've been spotting this resistance and this liquidity over here. So I won't be surprised that ultimately we are going to be grabbing out that liquidity, like I mentioned in many videos before as well here. I mean, all in all, on the weekly time frame, you can just see multiple weeks of resistance, of rejections of the previous all-time high. And I have said this so many times here, resistance is resistance until it's proven otherwise. We are right now seeing this previous all-time high getting retested as resistance, and it's all more than normal that we are seeing a slight little rejection from off this exact level right here. Further on, I want to be discussing the M2 money supply here, which right now is actually in a very big expansion where we're currently sitting on. So if history would be repeating again here, it's going to be showtime for Bitcoin somewhere around right now here. I mean, Bitcoin has not exactly followed the liquidity, but we have moved very closely towards that liquidity. But I won't be surprised that we are obviously going to be following that liquidity, because yeah, so far since 2024, that is exactly what Bitcoin has done so far. And every major move Bitcoin created has always been from off that liquidity zone. So that is very interesting. And guys, if you want to be trading any of these moves here, don't forget to check out BTTC in the link description of today's video, because you can get right now on your first deposit a 10% bonus. So make sure to check it out here. All you need to do is deposit, let's say, the amount of money you want, and then you get an additional 10% on that amount of money you have deposited to the exchange. But be aware, it's only on the first time deposit. So make sure to do your biggest deposit on your first deposit. Further on, I want to be discussing some more things, and that is obviously that right now, due to this war, we're not really seeing a big spike in volatility on the S&P 500. So, I mean, yes, it is bad, but it has not been so bad as, for example, the tariff spike here, which of course caused major uncertainty in the market. But yeah, right now also, if we're looking at Bitcoin on the 2-month time frame, we're still holding this upward sloping trend here. And basically, we create these trends here, and then at the end phase of the bull market, we go exponential and we go from off this level here. So very interesting to see how that played out here before, but I don't think it's going to be playing out exactly the same here. Then on the 4-hourly time frame, also on Bitcoin right now, we are creating somewhat of a slight bullish divergence right here. What we're seeing right now in the price action is that obviously Bitcoin has been creating a lower low here in the market, while the RSI has been creating a higher low. So that means that we're creating a bullish divergence right now in the Bitcoin 4-hourly time frame. And ultimately, that is, of course, also once again a bullish signal. The last time that happened was all the way back in April, approximately. And then also it marked the bottom, and Bitcoin shot towards the upside from off that point onwards. So yeah, very interesting that on the weekly time frame, we're still seeing that Ethereum is getting rejected by this level. I mean, there's nothing very special happening so far here. It has been a very boring period, actually. I mean, Bitcoin against ETH, still in this ascending triangle. We're seeing that, of course, the performance has been really living up here. And historically, in bull market years, it is always Q2, Q3, and Q4 that is going to be very bullish for ETH. So let's see how it's going to be playing out this time around here. But of course, I am having quite high expectations on what we are right now seeing on ETH here. But yeah, like you can see also over here, we have seen that fake out and re-entering the range here. But of course, Ethereum has done this multiple times before, also in 2024. And I won't be surprised to still ultimately see that major run towards the upside. So we have seen on on-chain data that there's been a lot of accumulation going on from major whales on the Ethereum price action. So I won't be surprised that Ethereum is going to be doing some very crazy shit here, especially if Bitcoin is going to be picking up, which I am expecting, of course. So as soon as Bitcoin is going to be picking up towards the upside, it is going to be Ethereum that's going to be following, and probably in a way faster pace here. So exciting times ahead of ourselves right now here. But anyways, guys, this was it for me in today's update video. Stop with that like button, it would be highly appreciated. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Goodbye.